Head of Compliance, Ian Sinton, is testifying at the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture, which has resumed in Parktown, Johannesburg. Representatives of the country's other big banks will also testify this week. The Commission is seeking to establish why the banks decided to close the accounts belonging to the Guptas. In March 2016, FNB, ABSA, Standard Bank and Nedbank announced that they were cutting ties with the Gupta-owned company Oak Bay after detecting several suspicious transactions. At the time, the Gupta family was in the spotlight for controversial deals with the various state-owned entities.
It was reported that ABSA Bank had elected to terminate all banking relationships with these entities in the Gupta group. Now, we would obviously accept that ABSA Bank is bound by the same laws as we are, so if they saw good reason to terminate, it put us on notice that we should look carefully ourselves as to what relation we had and whether we were at risk. And that more or less stimulated the commencement of the gathering of information. In no particular order, KPMG, who were the auditors to the group, then announced that they were terminating as auditors. You can fairly assume that an auditor would have far greater insight into the affairs of a company or group of companies than would the bankers. We typically only get given evidence about creditworthiness. So that was a concern, would have been concerning, requiring some investigation of the type required by the statutes. We then have Deputy Minister Jonas published the fact that he'd been offered a promotion in exchange for benefits. Our interpretation of that was that fell squarely within the definition of an offence under PRECA, and it was not insignificant that that account of what happened was published then on the website of National Treasury as an official publication by government. And we, in the world where we can't ignore suspicious transactions, we thought that was something that we ought to take cognizance of. We then had a former Minister of Parliament, Fakey Mentor, announced that there had been an attempt to offer her a role in cabinet in exchange for favours. And that for us was an issue of concern.